Welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I've been thinking this last week about having a little bit of, or a lot of, pandemic fatigue. And I think one of the things for me personally is that I tend to hold things in, just say, yeah, everything's fine, doing good. How's everything going? Oh, it's fine, it's fine. But what I've been finding is I've been holding a lot in. And one of the areas in our bodies where we hold in tightness, tension, but also emotion is in our hips. So today's practice will focus on opening hips, so physically opening our body, but also as you practice today, think about what you can let go that you're holding on to that you don't necessarily need anymore. So let's start on our backs. Oh, but first, it might be helpful for today's practice to have a couple of blocks. You don't need them, and maybe a blanket. So let's start on our backs. So just settle in on your back. Let the air out of your lungs. Then take a deep breath in and just let it go again. You could have your knees up or you could have your legs straight. Find a position that feels good for you. I'm going to have my feet wide with my knees knocked together. Place your palms up and just take a moment to settle in. Focusing on the breath is so helpful because it allows our minds to settle in and move inward, as opposed to the constant bombarding of things that we're faced with. So let's just settle in, feel your back melting into the earth. Take a moment to feel the support of the earth and the energy that it provides as it sustains you. Notice the sensations of your inhales and your exhales. Maybe the air feels cool as you breathe in through your nose. Perhaps it's slightly warmer as you exhale. Take one more breath. Just feel yourself coming into this space, into your space, wherever that may be. Now, open your eyes if they were closed and lift your feet off the ground, and we're just going to do some gentle hip circles. So place your hands on your knees. Now open your knees wide and then away from your body and circle in. So bring your knees towards your chest. Now open your knees up and then circle out, bringing your arms straight. Let's do that a couple more times. So exhaling as you bring your knees to your chest. Inhale, opening and expanding. And we'll do that one more time in this direction. Now with your hands straight, now open your knees and now pull your knees towards your chest wide and then come to bring your knees together. So straighten your arms. Breath in. Now exhale, open your knees wide and then draw your knees towards your shoulders, and then bring your knees together. Let's do that one more time. Inhaling, arms straight, open your knees wide. Now draw your knees to your chest and then close them up. Now roll on to your right side. We're going to come up to all fours position. So make that transition as you see fit. Put this out of the way. Now, in all fours position, spread your fingers wide. Have your hands underneath your shoulders. Your knees will be about hip width distance apart. And we're just going to start with a couple of cat-cow. So draw your chest and tailbone up. Breathing in, exhaling. Draw your chin towards your chest, tuck in your tailbone. And we'll just do a couple of those just with your own breath. So breathing in and out. And then come to an all fours position. From all fours, we're going to bring our right knee to right elbow, and then place your knee down. Now let's do the other side. So left elbow to left knee to left elbow, and down. Now bring your right knee to your left elbow. Come back to all fours, and then left knee to right elbow, and come down. Now curl your toes, bring your knees slightly off the ground, and then bring your hips high and back towards downward dog, keeping your knees bent. Let your neck completely relax, and start to pedal your feet very slowly with your breath. So breathing in as you pedal one heel down, exhaling as you switch. And once again, moving with your own breath, but really being conscious of your inhales and your exhales. Now from here, we're going to pivot forward into plank. So draw your navel up to your spine, flat back, draw the crown of your head forward, and press your heels towards the back of the room. Now, bring your right knee to right elbow. You could place your left knee on the ground and just open up and hold that for a breath, and then come back to plank. And then we'll do the other side. So you bring your left knee to left elbow, and if it's too much, you can come down on your knee, your right knee, and then come back to plank. Now we'll go opposite. So right knee to left elbow and back, and then left knee to right elbow and back. Now bring your hips high and back to downward dog. Let your neck relax, and then we're going to take baby steps up to our hands. Come to a halfway lift with a very straight back, the crown of your head reaching forward. Your hands could be on your shins, maybe even on your thighs. Now exhale, hinge and fold. Bend your knees a lot. Let your neck completely relax, and feel the length along your spine. Press your feet into the earth as you rise up. Bring your arms out to your sides first, then up overhead, extending your whole body tall. Bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. So press your feet into the ground as you reach up, extending. Bring your hands through heart center. Tense your fingers. Step your right foot back into a low lunge, but place your right knee on the ground. So you can stay here in a low lunge, or you can place your hands on your knee, on your left knee, or bring your arms up to the sky. So feel the openness in your hip flexor as you're pressing your hips slightly forward. Now place your hands on the ground to frame your left foot, curl your right toes, and then step your left foot into downward dog. Breathe in, come into child's pose. If it feels okay, bring your knees slightly wider, and then sink in to child's pose, resting your forehead on the mat. We'll take a breath here, and then when you're ready to take your next breath in, come back to all fours. So you might need to adjust your legs, curl your toes, and then bring your hips high and back to downward dog. Look to your hands, walk your feet up to your hands to come to halfway lift. Exhale, hinge and fold. You could have your knees bent, feel if it feels good, or you could try to straighten your legs a little bit, but don't overstretch. Just listen to your body. Now press your feet into the earth, bring your arms wide first, and then up overhead. Bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. Once again, press your feet into the earth, arms extended wide, then up overhead, and then bring your hands through your heart center, tense your fingers, step your left foot back, into low lunge, and then place your left knee on the ground. Once again, you could stay here, feeling the extension in the front of your hip, your left hip, or you could come up to bringing your hands on your right knee or bringing your hands overhead. So we'll stay here just for one more breath. Maybe pressing your left hip a little bit forward to feel that stretch. And then place your hands on the ground to frame your right foot. Step your right foot back into downward dog. And then look to your hands. Walk your feet up to your hands and come to halfway lift. Hinge and forward fold. And then press your feet into the ground as you rise up, extending and reaching. Bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. Take another full deep breath in, arms out and up, and then hinge and fold, tense your fingers, step your right foot back. We're going to come to high lunge this time, so arrange your feet so that they're in 2 tracks. When you're ready, press into your left foot to rise up. You could start with your hands on your hips, and then bring your arms up overhead. Notice if you've scrunched your shoulders to your ears. See if you can draw your shoulder blades down and back, and then reach up to the sky. So feeling an extension from your fingers, but drawing back in your shoulders. Once again, bringing awareness to this area in the front of your right hip. So really focus on feeling the stretch and the openness in that area. Press the heel of your back foot so that you're standing like on your tippy toes. And you might have to adjust a little bit forward or backward to really feel that opening. Now frame your left foot. Step your left foot back into plank. So once again, pressing both your heels back. We're going to once again bring right knee to right elbow. And then back. Now lower all the way to your belly, squeezing your sides as you lower, and then rest your forehead on the mat. Press the tops of your feet into the earth, bring your chest up, draw your shoulder blades down and back, and then lower down. And we'll do that 2 more times. So as you take a breath in, bring your chest up, press your feet into the earth, lowering down. And one more time. As you're rising up, feeling the sensation in your upper back, you could even let your hands rise off the ground. So all of the work is coming from your upper back. And lower down. Now, press into all fours. Curl your toes on your way to downward dog. Bring your hips high and back. Let your neck completely relax. Look to your hands. Walk your feet up to your hands to come to halfway lift. Hinge and forward fold. And then press into the ground to rise up, reaching, extending. Bring your hands to your heart and then down to your sides. Another full deep breath in, reaching, extending. Hinge and fold at your hips, tense your fingers, step your left foot back. We're going into high lunge, so arrange your feet in a way that feels good for you. Now press into your right foot to rise up, bring your hands on your hips, and even place your left hand on that spot in front of your left hip. Feel the extension and expansion, standing on your tippy toes, standing tall, draw your shoulders down and back, and then lift your arms up to the sky. And you don't have to come to complete stillness, so finding a spot where you're feeling the most openness and stretch in your body. Standing on the tippy toe of your back, of your left foot. Actually, not tippy toe, more like on the ball of your foot. Now bring your hands down to frame your right foot. Step your right foot back, come into plank. Draw your heels towards the back of the room. Draw your navel to your spine. Now bring your left knee to left elbow. And then step your left foot back. Now squeeze your sides as you lower all the way to your belly. Rest your forehead on the mat. Press the tops of your feet into the earth as you press yourself up into Cobra. So bringing yourself up a little bit higher than we were in the first round, but still keeping your shoulder blades down and back. And notice if you're really craning your neck, and see if you can look straight forward, right in front of you. Now lower yourself to the ground, rest your forehead on the mat. And then press into all fours first, and then curl your toes to bring your hips high and back to downward dog. Look to your hands. Walk your feet up to your hands to come to halfway lift. Hinge and fold. And then press your feet into the earth to rise up. Bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. Take another full deep breath in, arms wide, then up. Hinge and fold, tense your fingers. This time step your left foot back, but ground your left foot into the earth. Your toes will be pointing at about a 45-degree angle. Press into your right foot to rise up so your chest and hips will be straight. Now turn your torso to the left and bring your arms out to the side to come into Warrior Two. So in Warrior Two, feel the openness in your hips. Stretch your arms out to your side. So feel the length and expansion across your chest. So reaching in two directions. Now lift your right palm to the sky. Reach overhead to reverse warrior. And then as you exhale, bring your left hand to left hip, right elbow to right knee. Draw your left shoulder back to open up into side angle. Now we're going to straighten our right foot. Bring your right hand to your shin or to the floor, and then left hand up to the sky. Now bend your right knee and press back up to Warrior Two. So we're going to go through that series 2 more times, and we'll move with breath, so it'll be a little bit faster this time. So bring your right palm up to the sky, reaching, extending into reverse warrior. Now exhale, place left hand on left hip, right elbow to right knee into side angle. Straighten your right leg and bring your left hand up to the sky into triangle. Now bend your right knee and press up into Warrior Two. Breathe in, flip your right palm, reverse warrior. Exhale to side angle. Draw your left shoulder back. Straighten your left leg, bring your left hand up to the sky. Now bend your right knee and come back to Warrior Two. Now, it's going to be your choice to hold a pose. So you could hold Warrior Two and really focusing on your hip opening in this pose. You could come to side angle. Maybe in side angle, bringing your right hand down to the ground, maybe your left hand overhead. So feeling the expansion along your left side body. Or maybe triangle will serve you, straightening your right leg, bringing your left hand up to the sky. So find whatever position you want to hold, and we're going to hold for just a couple breaths. And focus on letting go. What is it that you need to let go in your body, in your physical body, but also your emotional body? So whatever position you are in, come back up to Warrior Two. Now cartwheel your hands down to frame your right foot, step your right foot back, and you can either just go to downward dog or take a flow, meaning lower to your belly. Rest your forehead on the mat. Now press up into Cobra, maybe upward dog. And then curl your toes and bring your hips high and back into downward dog. Now walk your feet up to your hands to come to halfway lift. Hinge and forward fold, and then press into the earth to rise up, reaching, extending. Bring your hands to your heart and to your sides. Are you ready for the other side? Press your feet into the earth, rise up, reaching, extending. Hinge and forward fold, tense your fingers. This time step your right foot back, ground your right foot into the earth, bend your left knee. Now press up, pressing your left foot into the ground. Bring your hands to your hips. So be facing towards the front of your mat first. Now open up to the right, feeling that openness in both of your hips. Bring your arms out to your sides and come into Warrior Two, gazing out over your left fingertips. You might have to arrange your foot placement, so find a placement that feels good for you. When you're ready to take a breath in, flip your left palm and reverse. Feel the expansion all along your left side. Exhale, bring left elbow to left knee, right hand to right hip. Draw your right shoulder back to side angle. Straighten your left leg. Bring your right arm up to the sky into triangle. Now bend your left knee, press up into Warrior Two. So this time we'll flow a little bit because we've gone through the poses on the other side. So concentrate on one breath for each pose. So breathe in, reverse. Exhale, side angle. Breathe in, triangle. Exhale, Warrior Two. Breathe in, reverse. Exhale, side angle. Inhale, triangle. Exhale, Warrior Two. So now you get to choose what pose you'd like to hold, either Warrior Two, right angle, or triangle. So you can go into whatever position feels good for you. Maybe you just want to flow through each of the positions, but find a position that feels right for your body. And when we're ready, when you're settled in, hold. Feel the tightness, letting go. Allow your body to let that tightness go. And now bring awareness to what other sensations you have in your body. Thinking about what other baggage you're carrying that you don't need to carry anymore. Now everybody press up into Warrior Two. And then cartwheel your hands down to frame your left foot, and you can either come to downward dog or go through a flow. So if you're going to flow, first come to plank, then lower all the way to your belly, rest your forehead on the mat. Press the tops of your feet into the earth, press up into cobra or upward dog, lifting your knees off the ground. Lower down. Then curl your toes and come up to all fours and then all the way to downward dog. We'll stay here for a breath. First, take a deep breath in. Now open your mouth and let the air go. Let your neck completely relax. Now look to your hands. Walk your feet up to your hands to come to halfway lift. Hinge and forward fold. And then press into the ground to rise up, reaching, extending. Bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. So come to the top of your mat. We're going to stand in mountain pose or Tadasana. So ground your feet into the earth. Your feet will be about hip width distance apart. Have a slight bend in your knees. So feeling the muscles holding up your legs. Now draw your shoulders up to your ears first, and then draw your shoulder blades down and back. So feel the expansion in your chest. You could give your Neck just a slight side to side, just feeling any tension rolling off. So as you're standing in this upward position, bring the weight to your right foot and then tent the toes of your left foot. You could stay here. We're just going to do a little bit of balancing, so standing tall and balancing. You could bring your knee up so that your thigh is parallel to the ground. You could hold on to your your left knee. You could open up your hip, bring your right arm out to the side for balance. You could, if I can do this, hold on to your toes and stretch your left foot out long, keeping your hip open, still standing up tall, maybe finding a point of focus to gaze at. And if you're stumbling and falling, that's perfectly fine. Bring your awareness to your breath, and then you can bend your knee, bring your knee forward and down to the side. So let's do the other side. So once again, let's reposition. So standing up tall, drawing your shoulder blades back, having that slight bend to your knee. Now bringing most of the weight to your left side on your left foot. And then you could bring your right knee up so that it's parallel to the earth. Maybe placing your right hand on your right knee and opening up your hip. And staying here is perfectly fine because you really feel that hip opening. If you'd like to go a little bit further, hold on to your big toe with your front two fingers and then stretch open. Maybe bringing your left arm out to the side as a counterbalance. And just settling in. Breathing as you hold the pose. Notice if you're holding your breath and let go. And finding your inner self, finding that point of focus, drawing inward. And then you can bend your knee and bring both feet to the ground. We'll just take a freedom breath here. Press your feet into the earth. Reaching, extending, breathing in, and then draw your hands to your heart and down to your sides. So next, we're going to come down into a seated position, and you can bring your legs wide first into a V. Draw your arms up to the sky, and we're just going to fold forward. So this might be a spot where you might like a block, so you could rest your elbows on the block, let your neck relax. If you want to move a little bit more forward, you could rest your forearms on your mat, let your neck relax, and feel the stretch in the back of your legs. Settle into your breath, and just let go. Following your breath as it moves in and out, in and out. Now press yourself up to a seat. We're going to come to a cross-legged position. So sometimes it's helpful to sit on a blanket. If you have a blanket, it's nice because it raises your hips up. So you could come just cross your legs in a regular cross leg. You could cross your legs in such a way that your one foot comes in front of the other. But find a position that feels good for you. Bring your arms up to the sky, and we're just going to do a simple twist to the left. So bring your right arm in front, left arm in back. Sit up tall. So feel if one of your sitting bones kind of lifted up, and see if you can keep both sitting bones even on the ground. So you might have to bring back your twist a little bit. So we're going to stay here for a couple breaths. So take a breath in, still sitting up tall. And if it feels okay as you exhale, can you twist a little bit further? But don't go too far. Just see if you're able to let go. So let's do that 2 more times. So breath in and let your body twist and relax and let go. And for this last breath, notice if you're holding any tension. So breathe in and see if you can let that tension go. And sometimes when you let the tension go, you can twist a little bit further or farther. Oh, rats, I can't remember which it is. Okay, come back to center. Take a deep breath in. And then we're going to move to the other side. So your opposite hand behind. You could place your left hand on your right knee. Sitting up tall. And just letting go on this side. Breathing in and letting go tension when you exhale. One more time, breathing in and letting the tension go. On your next breath in, come back to center, bring your arms up to the sky, bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. So next, we're going to come into a wide leg child's pose. So bring your knees wide. If this is not comfortable for your knees, you could put your knees together, find what works for you. And then we're just going to settle in to child's pose. Rest your forehead on the mat. And see if you can let go in this position. When you're ready to take a breath in, rise up. So this time, come to all fours, and we're going to bring our feet, so keep your knees wide, but bring your feet out to the sides a little bit. We're going into something called frog pose. So this is can be really challenging on hips, so only move to a point that feels good for you. A block might be helpful. You could start by resting on your forearms, and then bringing your tailbone back towards your heels. And the amount that you go back will depend on your hip flexibility. So we're going to hold this for a little bit and feel the point of sensation where you're feeling a stretch, but don't overstretch. But we're going to hold for a couple of breaths and focus again on letting go of that tension, letting go of anything that you might be holding on to. Physically, emotionally, and mentally. Focusing on your breath. Feel yourself letting go. Breathing in and out. Okay, you can press yourself up into all fours. Might be a little creaky. Bring your knees together this time. And we're just going to do a little bit of a hip rotation. So just bringing your knee in and out, moving one direction and then the next. Just finding some movement to open up that area. And then place your right knee on the ground, and then just do the same with your opposite side. So just do some hip circles with your left hip. So just moving your knee in a circle, first one direction and then the other. So now from here, we'll come onto our backs. If you have your blocks, bring them handy. And we'll come into a figure 4 position. So lying on your back, bring your feet on the ground about hip width distance apart. Now cross your right ankle over your left knee. So this might be an okay position for you. You could lift your left foot off the ground and maybe bring your right hand through the triangle in your leg and hold on to either the back of your left leg or the front of your left shin. So feeling the openness in this pose. So this is a really nice pose to open the hip, so you can stay here. Or if you would prefer to come into pigeon pose, that is an option too. So for pigeon pose, first come into a downward dog. Lift your left leg up to the sky and then pull your right knee towards your right elbow, bending at the knee, bringing your left leg straight back. So you could stay up tall. I find in this position that I need a little support under my right bum. And you could stay up, or maybe placing your forearms on a block, letting your neck relax. So if you're on your back or in pigeon pose, we're just going to hold this for a couple breaths, focusing on letting the tension go, allowing yourself to let go of what you don't need anymore, letting go of tightness, letting go of tension. Focusing on your breath, focusing on letting go. So you can, if you're in pigeon, we'll switch sides. If you're on your back, also switch sides. So sometimes it's helpful if you're in pigeon just to give a little rotation of the hip that you were just stretching the right hip. So you can either come into pigeon again on the opposite side, or you could come to figure 4 on the opposite side. So if you're in figure 4, you can place your right foot on the ground, cross over your left ankle onto your right knee, maybe lifting your right foot off the ground, perhaps holding on to the back of your right thigh or onto your right shin. And once again, settling in. And these positions can be uncomfortable, so listen to your body. So notice the difference between pain and discomfort. So sometimes we need to stretch a little bit beyond our comfort level to let go, but always being cautious to never overstretch, never overdo it. And I know right now this side is tighter for me, so I'm thinking maybe I can make this a little shorter than the last side. But I'll stick with it if you'll stick with it. I'm just going to rock back and forth a little bit. That gives me a little bit of relief on this side for a second, and then I sink back in. And focusing on letting go. Bring awareness to your breath and settle in. So whatever position you've landed in, actually, why don't everybody come onto your back and we'll just do a couple of hip rotations. So like we did at the beginning of class, drawing your knees to your chest, opening your knees wide, and then straightening your arms, bringing your knees away from the chest. Just doing some really big circles. You might notice that you feel a lot more open, maybe moving in the opposite direction. And then we'll come into a pose called Supta Baddha Konasana. I love to say that. So that's bringing your feet together. This might be a place where it's handy to have your block. So you'll be on your back, bringing the soles of your feet together, and then letting your knees open up. So if you have the blocks, you can rest your knees on the blocks. Opening your palms up to the sky. And you might start with your knees on the blocks, and then as you're opening up, just let your knees open up. And we're just going to stay here for a couple of breaths. Notice your breath slowing down. Feel yourself letting go. Breathing in and out. So you can stay in this position for our last few minutes of class, or if you're more comfortable, you can come into Shavasana pose. So having your arms out to your sides, palms up, your legs slightly spread. But find a position where you can be comfortable. Maybe neither of those positions works for you. So find a position where you can find comfort and ease and stillness for the last part of our class. So now bring awareness to your breath. And bring out a very gentle breath. It's very slow inhales and exhales. And we'll use the breath today, that gentle breath, to allow tension to drain away from the body. So beginning at your head, send your gentle breath to your head and just allow the breath to sweep away any thoughts that you don't need anymore. Use that gentle breath to let your face completely relax, letting go of tension, letting go of the tension in your tongue and your jaw. Send your gentle breath to your neck. Release tension there and allow your head to completely melt into your mat. Allow your gentle breath to move to your shoulders, sending out any tension, bringing in relaxation. Use your gentle breath to sweep all of the tension down your arms, exiting through the fingertips. Send your gentle breath to your back, your upper back and mid back and lower back, sweeping out any tension, allowing relaxation. Feel yourself melting into the earth. Bring awareness to your legs. Send your gentle breath down your legs, past your knees and shins, and allow any tension that you feel to just move out through the tips of your toes. Feel yourself completely at ease. Do a full body scan and notice if there's any tension that you're holding anywhere, and use your gentle breath to gently sweep it away. as your physical body is completely relaxed and tension-free. Everything has let go. There's no need to hold on. And with the relaxation of your physical body, your subtle body, your emotions, anything that you've been holding on to is now free to go. So as you rest here, there's nothing left for you to do. Just allow yourself to simply be and rest in this feeling of peace and comfort. Bring awareness once again to your breath. Using your gentle breath to bring in energy and oxygen. You might feel some wiggles in your fingers and toes. And as you're resting here, deepen your breath to further awaken and bring in more oxygen and energy. With this influx of energy, you might feel some movement in your arms and your legs. And then when you're ready, roll onto your right side using your right arm as a pillow. You could draw your knees into your chest, into a fetal position. As you're resting here, thank yourself for taking time to let things go, to find some peace in your day. And take a moment here in gratitude, thanking yourself for taking care of your mind and your body, giving your time the space it needs for self-care. And thank yourself for allowing yourself to let go of those things that you don't need anymore, that are weighing you down. So when you're ready, press yourself up to a seated position, draw your hands to your heart. Thank you so much for practicing today. Namaste.